So, this is an update to the computer I'm building for my father, and it is very, very slow. Now, mind you, it is being used currently, VGA is being used, so that's explaining part of the... I guess it overloaded the CPU and closed the... Oh, wait, okay, Task Manager is just down here. Like, it is really slow. It's using this mechanical hard disk with only 40 gigabytes available, and Windows is taking up approximately math, whatever that math comes out to be, an amount, like, what is that, 24 gigabytes or so. So yeah, it's quite filled to the brim, and right now I'm just testing things, getting drivers installed. The VGA that came with the motherboard, the only video out it has, was having some issues, so I put in a very basic graphics card. I don't even remember what the name is. Actually, it should have it in the device settings somewhere. But it's I don't know. I'll just make a jump cut, and then when I find it out, I'll let you know what it is. I don't remember what the model is though. But it's a very, very basic graphics card, like basically the 9th oldest graphics card in existence, model-wise. And when I say graphics card, I'm of course referring to just a graphics card, not a 3D or 2D accelerator. What one might call strictly a graphics card. It's like the 9th oldest model out there. So yeah, very old, very, very old. Or at least the 9th oldest that shows up on Tech Power Up. There are probably older graphics cards, but I don't really know about them before my time. But yeah, it's very, very slow, very... Like, the amount of input lag is disgusting, but it's also using VGA, so that's also part of it. Yeah, it's going to take like another few hours to properly get this thing to even vaguely usable. But as I said in my last video, this computer is from my father, and he really doesn't need anything special for a computer. So it should be fine as it is. It's not going to be amazing, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be amazing. All it has to do is just function, basically. So checking emails, and that's about it, basically. Checking emails and surfing the web. And this thing should be able to do that just fine. Anyways, I will make a jump cut to when I find out what the graphics card is, and also some other information. I have plugged in 2 flash drives I don't care about anymore. They're just 2 gigabyte flash drives. What am I really going to do with a 2 gigabyte flash drive? And so I'm going to be using the Ready Boost function to get some more RAM, sort of. Because we are currently doing nothing, and we're already using 84% of the RAM available. There are 4 gigabytes available in RAM, but for whatever reason it's only showing up as 3.2. And the only thing I can think of is that maybe it's running a 32-bit engine, because I know that with the 32-bit version of Windows 10, it could only use 3.5 gigabytes, but then it should be showing up as 3.5, not 3.2. I think it's just maybe some of it's hardware reserved or something. Let me look. I'm not entirely sure. 400 megahertz, delicious. This is DDR RAM, not even DDR1 or DDR2 or 3 or whatever. This is DDR. It says here 4 gigabytes, but I don't know. I guess some of it's cached or something. I don't know. Actually, no. I think some of it might be being used as the for the display, because it's integrated. It's currently running off of integrated graphics, so it's possibly sharing it. That's why. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to do some more configuration stuff, and I will talk to you very soon. And I am back. The graphics card turns out it's a GT430. What a cute little graphics card. Let's get it some more light, perhaps. It's so cute. If you're wondering what that is, because this case is a non-standard design, very proprietary, Basically, the entire motherboard is upside down, effectively, as I think I mentioned in the last video. So when I put this graphics card in there, it had an issue where the fin was actually contacting the tip of the capacitor, and metal on metal on a computer is generally not good unless it's grounded. So, and since it's a capacitor and there's actually electricity running through it, I decided that it would be best to just take a plier and break that fin off. And then I use some percussive maintenance, as Linus Tech Tips would call it, to bend the next fin up a little bit. So it shouldn't hurt the cooling performance too much. I'll smooth it out with a file or whatever, make it pretty. But yeah, other than that, it works. Works fine. I've tested all the ports and they work except for the HDMI, but I'm sure the HDMI port works fine. He's mainly going to be using these two ports, the HDMI and the VGA, if this thing can support multi-monitors, which I'm not actually sure. I need to look up first. If it doesn't support multiple monitors, then he's only going to be using the HDMI port. And yeah, so, but you know what? That's fine. This thing doesn't actually have HDMI. It only has one VGA out, so the card is worth it, even if nothing else, just because it actually gives him HDMI. Not something he wants, so, which makes sense. What else? Right, so that was just the graphics card. So I finally have downloaded all the updates and all the other stuff, and yeah, it's a bit scary. This computer is really not meant for Windows 10. It was originally designed, if you look at the stickers on the top, it was originally designed for Windows XP Professional. And I also found a sticker up there with a code for Windows 7, Microsoft Windows refurbished PC. So apparently this PC, I don't exactly know the origin of it, but apparently at one point it was refurbished, and I guess they installed Windows 7 on it. So there are actually codes for both on the top. So yeah, this thing, the main thing here is the RAM. I mean, the CPU is not, it's not amazing with only 2 cores, and the speed is okay at 3 gigahertz, but I don't think it boosts. Does it boost? I'm not sure. I don't think it boosts. But it only has 2 cores and 2 threads, so not amazing at all. No. Struggles to, I mean, it's currently just idling, doing nothing except running the task manager, and it's basically sitting at 10% at a minimum. So yeah, not amazing. But it'll do. The hard drive, well, that could have just been upgraded. This is just, yeah. Really, the thing here that's the limiting factor is the memory. It only has 4 gigabytes of memory, and it can't really be upgraded because although the platform does support up to 8 gigabytes, I looked online and I found 8 gigabytes in the form of 4 modules with 2 gigabytes each, but because of the age, it's only DDR4. It's only DDR. I always want to put a number after DDR, but no, it's just DDR. It has a speed of 400 megahertz. Because of the age, you didn't really, of course, when DDR first came out, and then you had this kind of RAM way back in the day, when this RAM was new, the kind of computers that went in were Windows XP machines and whatnot, so you didn't need as much RAM. So I have found modules with 2 per instead of 1 per, but they're exceedingly expensive, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I think I found one for like $100, a kit of 4, which is just outrageous. So instead I inserted this old 2 gigabyte flash drive that was dead. So I opened it up and actually cleaned it out with some alcohol. I took a Q-tip and with some alcohol and a cotton swab and like basically went over it, and then so I basically cleaned it off, and then it started working again, but I don't really trust it to hold anything else on it because it's kind of damaged looking. Can't really see it all that well, but it's kind of damaged, kind of falling apart. And then I lost the casing. When I say lost, I mean I threw it away because I'm stupid. So, but now it has a home. I'm using it for Ready Boost actually. Now I'm still doing some research on Ready Boost because I've never used it before and I don't really exactly know how it works. Because it doesn't directly add to the RAM amount, but I have this flash drive, this 2 GB flash drive being used for Ready Boost. And it does do something. It's this one right here. When I was downloading all the drivers and whatnot for this system, it definitely was doing something. So, but it doesn't add to this number of RAM right here, the actual RAM that shows up as showing up in the task manager. But it does do something. It basically just takes the flash drive and treats it like the RAM sticks in the computer, the actual DIMMs. And yes, I'm aware that using a flash drive in this way, the constant reads and writes, especially as you start using lots of memory, and it will destroy the flash drive. I understand it'll destroy the flash very quickly as compared to standard use. It's a very heavy use of the flash, but it's an old flash drive that I don't really care about anymore, and 2 GB it's just not really a lot these days unless you're just swapping around like Word files, but any sort of pictures or videos or whatever, it's just so small. Like this YouTube video is probably would fill up this entire drive. So I don't really care. As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, this flash drive now has a home instead of being thrown away. It doesn't matter that it'll get destroyed and the flash will break down very quickly because, well, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have any sort of files on it. It just has Ready Boost cache. So anyways, I'm rambling. So yeah, GT 430. And is this it? Is this video ready for YouTube? Or is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I guess next update I will update is when I put this graphics card into the system. I haven't done so yet because I couldn't get a display output consistently, and I think it's because I didn't have any drivers for it, but now I actually do have NVIDIA drivers for this system. I'm actually going to go to the NVIDIA website and I'm going to make sure that I downloaded just from the Windows Update Center, I downloaded general NVIDIA drivers or something, because I now have running in the background, I now have the NVIDIA container. So it does have some drivers, I think, but I want to make sure that they are the newest ones. Although it wouldn't surprise me if this graphics card does still get updates in a weird way, because what's funny is that some of those older graphics cards actually are still being made. Like, they're still making GT210s. It's insane to me. It's not at all worth the money, don't buy one, but it's just interesting to me that they're still making NVIDIA GT210s. Well, I guess they're buying it for the same kind of purpose I'm buying it for, as just a display out that's more sophisticated than just one VGA. Because if you want HDMI on an older board like this, well, that's really your only option. But it'll also help the system with the graphics card. There are many benefits. When my father was asking, should I get a graphics card, and I was talking with him about it, and I said, well, there are many advantages to getting a dedicated, discrete GPU for the system, and we talked about it, and we decided, yes, we will get a discrete GPU. But he wanted a cheap one that would very much fit into his budget, and well, this is definitely that kind of graphics card. Yeah, overall cost of the system, to him, because I don't know where this computer came from. I don't know the cost originally, and that's kind of hard to gauge nowadays, even if I had the original asking price. I don't know where I got the system, so as far as I'm concerned, because I have a bunch of systems already and I'm trying to clear out some of my old projects to get ready for some new ones, because I don't have a use for the system and I couldn't sell it because who would want this thing? could not be used for gaming even in the slightest. I'm deciding just to basically give it to him for free. Same with the optical drive. I don't really care about the optical drive. It's just some old IDE optical drive. If I even wanted a dedicated optical drive in my computer these days, it would be a SATA one. So definitely don't care about that. As I mentioned in the previous video, and maybe also in this one, 40 gigabyte hard drive. There's nothing I could do with such a thing. I wouldn't have a use for it, so I'm giving that to him for free as well. And just for convenience, I also linked up this SATA to IDE adapter thing, which I don't really care about. My mother actually gave it to me and said, hey, look at this, is an interesting thing. And I said, oh yeah, that is interesting, but also not very useful, because what am I going to do with that? It'd be a lot more useful if it went the other way, like IDE to SATA. I could see a use for that, but whatever. And yeah, what else is in there? Power supply. So basically the power supply, the graphics card, and the Wi-Fi card are the only things I'm charging him for. Because this power supply came out of one of my other systems, and I'm going to need to get a replacement for it before I can ship that one out. Or like sell it online, whatever. So I'm charging him approximately $35 for it, as that's the cheapest power supply I can find online from any reasonable manufacturer. Like, there are cheaper ones, but they're from like companies I've never heard of, and I wouldn't want to put those into any sort of computer. They're probably fire hazards or something. And it's the Thermaltake Smart. It's like $35. Actually, currently it's about $25 on Amazon with a $10 mail-in rebate. So it's nothing special. It's just a 430 watt non-modular power supply. I think it's 430 watts. And non-modular with really nothing special going for it. But hey, it's cheap. So, and the thing is, this power supply itself is actually worse than that one. This is only a 400 watt unit with only one PCIe 6-pin, whereas that one is a PCIe 6-pin that's daisy chained to another 6-pin. Actually, it might be a 6+2 pin. I don't know, whatever. Either way, it's better than this one, so I consider $35 for the power supply to be fair. Thereabouts, $35. The Wi-Fi card, I got it actually with my first computer. It was a pre-built that I bought from secondhand from a guy, and I never used it before now, and then I realized when he said he wanted Wi-Fi and he wasn't going to use the onboard LAN, he just wanted to use Wi-Fi. I said, you know what? Let's finally get rid of this card. So it's the one down there. That cute little card there. That little Asus. And I don't really know what the price is, because I bought the computer for $200 and it came with it, but I've never used it, so I'm just saying, I don't know, $10 or whatever for an older unit. I think $10, random number, is a fine amount. And the graphics card was about $15. So, but he's paying for that, of course, because yeah, it's for the computer. So I'm only charging him approximately $45 for this pile of shit. But in context, I think it's fine, because I'll probably get one comment that says like, wow, what a pile of crap computer. Way to treat your father well, or whatever. Something like that, like, oh yeah, you're a real scumbag. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's not going to be using it for anything even remotely complicated. And although it currently is sitting at half RAM usage, so probably couldn't open up more than like 10 tabs at the most. That might even be pushing it. It's going to be fine for him. Sorry, I have a cold. Which is you probably have noticed why my voice is deeper. But yeah, I have a cold. So I might also maybe just sound stuffy and nasally. I don't know. To me, I just sounds like my voice is deep, or deeper than usual. But yeah, it should be fine. We'll do some testing with it. If this computer turns out to have too little RAM for his uses, then I have a different computer with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and that one will be more than adequate for his purposes. But because he's not gaming on it, he's not opening up extensive browsing, probably no more than like 5 tabs at a time. He's not even watching YouTube on it. He has a Roku TV or whatever, so all the components in here should do him just fine. The computer is really slow though, like amazingly slow. The amount of delay and input lag, just like if I grab this task manager and just start moving it around, it actually looks smoother on the camera somehow, but it's like you can probably see the delay, like especially if I put the mouse in view or something, like you can probably see just how much delay there is. Right, but I think that's about it. And I'm just going to, after this, pop this in here after I get the drivers downloaded and fire it up. And then if it seems to be working, I will make a quick little update. And then I'll post this video. And you can all marvel at it or not. I don't know, whatever. If you do end up marveling at this video, thank you. But I'll see you after the jump cut when the card is installed and it appears to be working fine. Bye for now.